What's going on, guys? My name is Citizen, and welcome back to another Dragon Ball Gekishin Squadra video. Today, it is just me. I said it in my stream. I want to make the third and final tier list, pardon me, of the season be just my thoughts, my takes on the meta, with the other two being involving multiple people to get multiple perspectives given the state of the game. So I kind of want to do this as like kind of like a hybrid video. I want to talk about the state of the game, where I see it. Now that we've had a whole first season, what I think needs to change. Hopefully, and we do have a Squadra talk. That by the time this video goes live will have already happened. So hopefully, those things do get addressed that need to be addressed. But without further ado, I do want to just go over that this is not the actual tier list. This was from the last for season 1.5 tier list, or 1.2 tier list. 1.25. Yeah, it was the so 1.25. Yeah. So this is the final. You could call it 1.75, maybe. Um, but yeah, so we are at the end of season 2. This was before Topo's release. This was with Jordan, the ranked number 1, number 2 tech character, and then Aragaki, who's also a top player. This is what we decided. So we have our tiers as Zeno tier needs a nerf. GG go next. This is going to be your Hit, Kale, and Daima. They are still as strong as ever. This is the God of Destruction tier, close but not broken. This was after the Goku nerfs. Okay, so Goku, J3, Khalifa, Cooler, Rathan, Gotenks, and Majin Buu. So this was the newest character at that time. Z Warrior, fine in any situation. Again, some of these characters have a high skill ceiling. You got Vegeta, you got Trunks. That is now free, by the way. Thank you, Squadra. Then we have Piccolo, Oob, 18, and Krillin. Then we have Earthling and Yamcha tier, so in the middle. So again, nothing crazy, but still viable in their own right. We got 17, Frieza, and the immortal Zamasu. Yamcha tier, these are the characters that are at the bottom of the barrel. They need something. They need either a major buff or a rework of some capacity. This is going to be Baby Young Body, Deborah, Gamma 1 and 2, which is ironic because they got buffed. So you'll stay tuned to see where they get placed. Cell, Perfect Form, Full Power, Bojack, and then, of course, at the time, Topo was announced but not released yet, so Topo was unreleased / NA. But I'm going to stay here for a second. I want to go over the state of the game. So I think that Squadra is in a bit of a unique position. We've seen a rise and fall of Squadra, if you would. I think that a lot of it had to do with a couple things. We're going to talk matchmaking, but I want to call out the infamous network code 0. So if you were familiar with this prior to its patch, which resolved the issue, if you got network error 0, you physically, no matter what, all 8 players got kicked out of the game, and you could not get back in the game at all. No matter what you did, you could reset your router, you could cut off the game, come back in, nothing. You were locked out of the game for the duration of the game. So if the game just started, you were there for a very long time. You cannot re-queue. You cannot get in. You were stuck at the Dragon Ball Gekishin Squadra intro. That was it. It was very annoying, and a lot of players rage quit, essentially, out of that. Because not only did the match still technically count, if you just got even a sliver of the enemy's tower and they did not touch your tower, by default, your team won. Whoever got the chip damage first. It was very taxing on a lot of players, especially those that really wanted to climb ranked, and they got essentially, for lack of a better term, screwed over by something that they physically could not control. It was very unfortunate. So not only did we lose a lot of players because of that, but then also matchmaking was abysmal. You're having S-rank players match with B and D characters and absolutely sweating on them. Because again, it's a 4-stack versus a solo queue that randomly got put with either some like a B rank got placed with some S, and they thought that was the best matchmaking because again, the player pool at the time at S rank was so slim, you were running into the same people on repeat. It's gotten to the point that it was either the S ranks and the 4 stacks were getting dodged on, that they either had to switch servers completely, so NA to EU, NA to JP, JP to EU, JP to NA, like, and vice versa with EU, NA and JP respectively, because the player pool was just dwindling down, because at the time there were not a lot of people in S, and then by the time a lot of people got into S, it's like, why would I want to get Goomba stomped on, and the joy of the game, the experience, because I don't have the connections that a lot of these players do to 4Q, even through the official Gekishin Squadra Discord. It was very slim pickings, because either the players already found the 4 stack to play with, so the solo queue adventures continued, and it was just a downhill spiral because it was 4 stack after 4 stack after 4 stack. It became rather tiring, you know what I mean? Like, as an average player, you're not trying, like, you feel good about having to get to S rank, but then immediately you're met with the likes of, Abe and his crew, Eisen and his crew, Bebop. I'm thinking of like other famous people. I play with some people, so like Avarice and his crew. Like, and when you're a normal player, especially if you've never played against these people before, and it's back to back to back to back to back, it could be very, like, the joy of the game just goes away. And I understand that a lot of people left also because of that. So there's a lot of things. And of course, when you have, like, again, characters like these guys, this dude in his prime, running just rampant, and nothing was done. By the time Toshi and you and the other producers got to address it through the mid-season Squadra talk, it was too late. A lot of the player base had already dipped. Yes, some people came back to see what Gotenks was about, but then again, when they saw the cheese and the 4 stacks were just getting worse, along with the connectivity issues and the matchmaking, all those issues were still prevalent when he released, and even when Topo released. It's just a lot of people. That coupled with, Battlefield 6 just dropped. Unfortunately, Season 2 is right around the corner. But guess what? In 3 days' time, because on the recording of this is the 14th, so the 17th, Black Ops 7 drops. And a lot of players are going to go to Black Ops. You know what I mean? And then we have Solo Leveling, Arise. If you're getting that game, that's another game. Around the corner, like a couple weeks after that, Legend ZA is getting their DLC. Like, it's Squadra's in a very unique time where it's now gonna be in its competitive cycle, if you would. Retention is gonna matter. So how they handle Season 2 is gonna determine, I would like to think, the game's true life cycle, right? Now, I will be completely honest. They dodged a bullet with a certain release that has nothing to do with Dragon Ball in its entirety. And that's that Rockstar Games announced that GTA 6 is postponed until next year. That gives this game at least a guarantee. If they can make the content matter, they have another good year of a player base. But then when GTA 6 comes out, we'll have to adjust and see. I'm afraid of it turning into like a My Hero Ultra Rumble situation where a lot of their player base is just gonna poof and vanish because either situations and characters aren't getting addressed until way down the line. I foresee a rather uphill battle for Squadra, but the thing is, I love this game. I love the connections that I've been able to make with so many content creators, so many just top players that are so welcoming in this community. I really like the community that this game has been able to build, and I see such potential, and that is why I'm deciding to stay with this game and make content creation and make this my main game. And I want to be able to deliver this to you guys in an effective way that, again, you're getting something out of it, whether it's base knowledge of just the simplicity of how to use the character. Going over funny stuff like Gekishin Squadra hot takes is a video I have in the pipeline. These tier list videos, again, it's all opinion based, but again, you can see my perspective. If you watch my content, you can get my thoughts and opinions. Now, mind you, I am not a top player, but at one point in time, I was top 100 in all 4 categories: overall, damage, tech, and tank. But of course, I got out of it because I made some silly decisions and I played with people that were just taking my rank, and it was unfortunate, and that's a mistake that I learned, but I don't regret it, right? Because I got to still have a good time, make new people. Yes, the rank suffered immensely, but at the same token, good vibes all around. You know what I mean? That's what this channel's about. You know what I mean? I want it to be a place where people can come, put it on the background. It's like, oh, yeah, man, this guy is chill, whether it's like my YouTube content or my Twitch content. It is just a vibe all around, right? But that's kind of like where I see the state of the game. I think the state of the game is in a more of an uphill battle. I really think that season 2 is going to make or break this game as far as hype is concerned, generation of content, etc. For a lot of players, this is the make or break season. They're going to decide whether they stay with this game or not. And I have high hopes for this game in its totality. Now, with that being said, what do I see and think that needs to be changed? Well, for starters, I think what would be healthy if they do something like a game called Valorant by Riot Games, takes out maps to work on them and then put them back in. I think they should do that, not with the one singular map. I think it would be cool to like replace like the Namek area with like the Tuffle planet and like little changes like that. But like that is like an overtime problem. That's not like a major one that I see that I would want to change. The reason why I brought up the Valorant change and how they do it is I would like to see the bosses cycle out and have them do different abilities. Not like replace Ribrienne with another character that's going to give you the same buff. No, I want a completely different buff. Like, hey, this one gives you more defense. This one gives you a little bit of extra attack. This one does something, right? I would like something like that. I think that would be awesome to do, especially if the goal would be to make Ribrienne a character actually playable in the future, because the skill set's already there. Already has the transformation condition, already has the moveset on lock. Like, they have it to where it's doable. Maybe they'll do that in the future. That's a change that I would like to see. Cycle out, and I know that everyone's gonna be screaming at this with pitchforks and stuff like that. Take out the Cell Juniors, bro. Take out the skill 1 boost. Take out the super start and change it out. Change it to be something. Maybe change from skill 1. Get your skill 3 on. Get the skill 2. Like, rotate what ability gets a damage boost, right? Superstar, I don't know what you would change that to. Maybe change it so instead of Superstart, where you start off with like max ability, you could do something like you get an increased health pool off rip. Maybe it's you get a little bit more defense at the start. Something like that. Change it out, make it healthy. Cell Juniors, just flat out remove them, or at the very least, reduce the amount of experience it gets. Right? And it is possible because, again, even if you're involved in a Cell Junior fight, it's not a guarantee you're going to go up to full level. I have been where 3 people are hitting Cell Junior at the same time, team secures, but I only go up half a level. So if it's possible in a scenario where there's like 3 people on it to reduce the amount of XP that's delivered across the board, you could just reduce overall how much you get, rather than, again, every time. Because with characters like Daima and Kale, with Snowball, which we'll cover in a second, that have secure special beam cannon, a photon bomber, the stupid kick, the landmine Zarbon, things like that have a secure that, like, it doesn't matter if I don't have any of those characters. Like, if I use like Cooler, I only have Death Beam, Saucer, all that, Chaser, all that jazz. Unless I'm using my ultimate, my secure isn't going to be there, so I lose out on levels. But of course, Kale and Daima will get it immediately. You get what I mean? So little things like that are what I am hoping gets changed. Snowball, Barrier, they go hand in hand. You can't reduce one without the other, right? I think that a change, either remove those cards, cycle them out for 2 new cards, or just reduce like how it is done, right? I don't know what changes you could make. I would just like to see them either cycled out fully for new cards, or just remove them entirely while you work on adjusting them to be whatever would be more equitable for the game. Because, again, there are certain characters that just benefit so highly. Again, being able to one-shot, one shot. A lot of characters can one shot off of snowball, are protected by barrier, and like that's the when there is a meta is when I think the adjustments need to be made. Because if it's like, say for example, just for argument's sake, it's these two, and then like these two, like these three are interchangeable about a hit, and then one of these two. If this is the same thing you're running and you're especially when you're seeing in a tournament, you need to adjust the characters. All of them. Hit, Kale, Daima, J1, J3, Khalifa, Cooler, etc. There needs to be something done. That's how I see it. What you would change on them, I don't know. I can make a completely separate video on like what I think needs to be changed for each character. But again, when I just know at the very minimum, and I think everybody can be in agreement here, when you're running into the same characters, it gets annoying. The fun of the game gets taken out. Now, mind you, if you're on the receiving end, that is how you'll feel. If you are the one dishing out, of course, you feel like you're the top G. You're getting kills left and right. You're oppressing them as hit. You're one-shotting as Kale. You're doing immense damage over time with drive-by Daima. Then you have J3, IT. Guess what? Okay, bye. Like, it's the same thing. Oh, guess what? Oh, my teammates are getting hit. Let me direct all the attacks to me and my tinky build. Y'all can dip out now. It gets annoying seeing the same characters and not this diverse pool that they already have. A lot of these characters going untouched, and only when they're buffed, i.e. gammas, are getting love. You know what I mean? Like, it defeats the purpose of releasing characters if like they're not being used, which is funny because again, more hit in the tournament is being used, but then Gotenks is so good. Boo with his buff is so annoying and oppressive at the early game. Like Krillin, underrated still. 17 Frieza, yes, you can play around them, but they still have merit in their own right. Like a lot of characters are not being utilized because guess what? It's just the number one. So then guess what needs to happen? The number one needs to go down a peg to give the other ones a chance to shine. That's why metas are bad. It is what it is. Feel free to disagree in the comment section down below. But without further ado, y'all are here for a tier list. Let's get on into the tier list. Okay, so for starters, we're just going to go exactly how it is seen. The way this is going to go, I'm going to give a little bit of synopsis on the character. There are certain characters that I have not played as personally, but I have played either with or against them. So I'm going to give my thoughts from a third person perspective on them and where I think that they'll need to be. So I'm actually going to go with the Yamcha tier needs rework first, and then I will ascend the ladder. So really quick, because I want to just get these out of the way. Bojack, like again, I see that there's a lot of love for this character, but his kit, there's so much potential, but the kid just needs work. He's so staggered and stationary a majority of his kit, especially his ultimate, bro. And the thing is that like there's a fine line because then guess what? If he moves with his ult like a J3 Kamehameha, it becomes too OP. So then it's like, okay, well, what do you do to make him balance? I don't know, but I do know they need to go back to the drawing board to make it to where his kit is more usable. That doesn't have him rely so much on being all the way far back to farm, make himself viable, and then, with potential, assuming he's not getting pressured, because when people see a Bojack, they think Freelo, right? I want to say Cell. I unfortunately late game Cell is great, but like in that combo of like being able to grab someone from behind into a Big Bang crash, and then it's so oppressive. Being able to boss secure because you're trapping people in your Cell games is so oppressive. Like there's such potential there, but dude, it is that early game is so bad. Like when you're in bot lane with a Cell, especially if you're like a Kale, you better pucker up, Buttercup, because guess what? You got to carry. Your Cell ain't going to carry for you. You got to carry your Cell until he gets his shit together. And for me, that's been the interesting to see about Cell. And I don't know how you would make it where it's not OP, because if you lower the duration of time in which it takes for him to get there, because again, if a Cell is efficient, the earliest I've seen a Cell go to perfect is level 5. which can be a very scary thing because guess what? He's already perfect when most people don't even transform until 7, right? If not all. Kale excluded, but that's tied to the ultimate. Cell, full on transformation, early as 5, but also at the latest, if he's not built up, it's going to take him till he's like 9. And then by then, guess what? It's already a landslide. Unless your team knows what they're doing, Cell's going to be behind. So something with this transformation condition needs to change. I think from what I've seen, maybe add a little bit more health to his regeneration is like the only other change that I would see that needs to be made. I don't want to do it to him, but baby. And the reason why, baby, a good baby is a scary thing, bro. Let me talk to you. A baby that is good is a scary thing. However, I don't like how lane partner dependent he is. And I understand there's not much that can be done in that category because, well, guess what? That's his whole hit. Like his skill 1 and skill 2, he can hold his own, but that skill 3 is tied to the lane partner. And he just doesn't have enough output to be able to cover if my Piccolo or my Oob or my 18 is getting belt to ass. It's just, it's tough. It's tough for a baby to carry when they're focusing the DPS because, like, okay, well, the baby I know we can't go for because if we try to put belt to ass, he's just going to jump into his lane partner. And then guess what? Now we lost him. He's going to come back with full health. So the only thing we can do is, guess what? Jump the DPS. So guess what? Why don't we just jump the DPS first and then baby can't help out because the regeneration that he has for his skill 3 doesn't do that much if we're both attacking the DPS at the same time. Only if the other two are already low that baby will be able to get them in that state. And then, of course, at low level, the body possession of the enemy doesn't matter because they come back in 5 seconds anyways. Oh, look, guess what? I'm going to get off maybe a Kamehameha if I'm lucky, but then that's it. It's unfortunate. I think he needs a little bit more, maybe a more faster regeneration on the teammate side. Do a little bit more damage, not snowball reliant, to make him more just that little extra stuff that he needs to be in one of these two categories, man. But unfortunately for that, he's going to be in Yamcha tier. I don't think I would put anybody else in Yamcha tier. I think everybody else that we're going to talk about, at least for me and my perspective, are going to be in the tiers above. So, let's start off with Goku. Goku got a nerf. Okay. Goku got a nerf to where it was like a meteor mash, Kaioken cycle on repeat, and it was just very annoying. You would either die fast if Snowball was active, or just again, you would just die even if it wasn't Snowball active, because again, the cooldowns were so egregiously low. So they nerfed those two, and they made Kaioken last a second longer, and then Kamehameha, I don't believe was changed, and if it was like a boost to Kamehameha, because it was completely overshadowed. I have seen a lot less J1. Now, I'll be completely honest. He's still really good. Do not get it twisted. I think people are just taking the piss and they see that a character got nerfed, therefore, Kama is unplayable. I think that what happened was, and now mind you, this is my hot take, a lot of the people that played SS1 were Meteor Mash, Kaioken reliant, and then when their mechanic got taken away, he got less play. And now only people that actually know how to use him are using him, and they're still putting belt to ass. It's going to be the same, mark my words, it's going to be the same damn thing for when the Daima DOT gets nerfed and when Kale gets nerfed. These two are going to see such less play, especially if like the Pansy Bomb and the skill 3-1 gets tanked, and the ultimate gets tanked. I guarantee you're going to see less play because they are super reliant on those mechanics, because it doesn't take rocket science to use those characters. It would be the equivalent of if J3, the Kamehameha got reduced distance-wise, and instant transmission was a minute long per transmission, you're going to see a lot less J3 play because now they can't spam all the abilities. It doesn't matter if you're snowball dependent. You're still not going to see as much play. Guarantee. It was the same reason why 18 got overshadowed. The minute they saw, oh wow, J1 is that guy. Hale is the better powerhouse. What the hell? With J3's release, especially, 18 saw less play. It was the same thing. She was running rampant in the network test. That's what happens. But I think that because of that, he saw less play. But that's not going to influence my decision. I do believe that Prime Goku, 100%. I think he's comfortable in God of Destruction tier. Because that's where his skill ceiling is. Piccolo! The Aura Farmer himself. I'm going to go with Earthling tier. The reason why is because it depends on the player. It depends on the player. A good Piccolo with Hellzone Grenade, bro, is so oppressive. And the boss sniping is so oppressive. But again, like Frieza, you could argue the same thing. Frieza with the Zarbon and Dodoria and the boss stealing potential. But if you know how to counter that, which is basically get up in Piccolo's face, if you close the gap, Hellzone Grenade doesn't do that much damage. Your Special Beam Cannon will not be able to get off if I'm stunning as Gohan or Gotenks, or just, again, pressing him to force him out of Special Beam Cannon. So I think that as long as he has those glaring weaknesses, he's in the middle. But a good Piccolo will play around that. Oh, my man, dude, if you don't touch that Piccolo, he'll show you why he's the ultimate Aura Farmer. Because that pose that he will do at the end when he grabs the Dragon Ball because he won, yeah. That's all I got to say about that. Frieza, again, same thing. I think Zarbon and Dodoria, again, the fact that, again, if all I do is I just destroy his minions, he becomes unplayable. I can force a Flea Flicker of a Supernova instead of a Supercharged one because he has to run. Otherwise, he dies. Glaring weakness. But I do think a good Frieza that knows positioning and is uncontested, detrimental to the game. And again, will make you play, or make you pay with the his telekinesis. All right, Zamasu's an interesting one. I think Zamasu's an interesting one. So, my coffee on. Zamasu got a buff. And although I don't think it makes him crazy, I think objectively speaking, I'd be bold to put him here. Because I think, like the Gammas, when you have 2 lives, that makes you so oppressive in the early game. And in this game, early game sets your team's tone for success. Not only are you going to guarantee your bot lane partner, which should be another DPS, if they get their snowball stacks, I have been paired with Zamasu's as Kale. And just off of him being able to zone, isolate, and help me get going, while he's doing that, I'm attacking Kai. I then go in transition into doing my 3-1 combo, into getting a kill or 2 if we're lucky. If they're wanting to take that fight, I now got 2 snowball stacks. That sets me up for success. That way my lane partner, my Zamasu, can work on building his passive again so he gets another life. And he just keeps building that over and over and over again. It is so good. I think he's fine in any situation. Again, not the best tank, but I don't think that he's in the middle anymore, especially after the buff. And his passive is just too good. All right. Oob. Oob, to me, is fine in any situation. Let me talk to you. Oob is fine in any situation. People don't know how to use him. That's my hot take. His ability to, again, increase rush attack damage with Wicked Warrior, which is literally his passive, along with the Cyclone Storm and things of that nature. 3 dashes. You cannot overlook that. Oob is a menace. You just need to know how to play as him. And a good Oob will punish you immensely. That snowball damage on Oob especially. Oh my gosh. They know what they're doing. I'm not touching that further. Krillin, strongest Earthling, fine in any situation. As a tech character, which is ironic because I had the privilege of talking with Zoro, which is the top hit and number one current technical player right now. It is so funny hearing him say he hates playing against Krillins because he plays a character that literally makes you not see. Krillin has one ability that makes you blind and physically can't play. So the fact that a Krillin can make the game unplayable for a hit player, along with Shu, that also makes hits visible, if you have that as a tandem combo, that coupled with your landmines to do immense amount of damage and outplay potential, Krillin deserves to be fine in any situation. He is stronger than a lot of. So now I was going to say a lot, but like he's stronger than some characters that you might not even think about. Plays like a DPS, but again, the outplay potential is what makes him technical, right? That's how I see Krillin. Deborah, I would argue to put him in here. I think, but I'm gonna put him in the middle, and here's why. He's a secondary attacker. He is not a main bread and butter guy, but I think a lot of people sleep on the petrification build. If you build him through a build up solid barrier and like an all tank build, you have a beefy, tanky secondary DPS that is, if you play how you're supposed to, which is like, for example, I'm gonna go with Oob or even Zamasu. Imagine a bot lane situation where you have 2 lives, you have a petrification gauge, where I have an arrow, I throw it, they can no longer vanish step, especially in the early game. They're not going to have a double vanish. They cannot vanish step. They cannot use any abilities that I have that like movement potential because again, they might be able to move a little bit, but guess what? They cannot vanish step after that. So as long as Zamasu has his dash, um, if I have another arrow by the time it comes up, I'm locking them in place again, making them forced to take that fight and or forcing their teammate to come out and help. And if we can take that 2-on-1, guess what? By that time, I'll have my ultimate, I'll have my petrification build up on both DPS and or the other tank. I do immense amount of damage along with my secondary lane partner, and we're able to take the fight to them. He is underutilized because again, a lot of people play him like he's supposed to be that guy. But if you play him like a support, you will see a night and day difference on the board gameplay. Trust. Majin Buu! Fat Buu got a buff. He's probably one of the most annoying tech characters to play against. Second to like hit. I get so annoyed when I have to deal with a Buu in top lane because again, unless you are focusing Buu, there is no point of going for their first DPS. He will make Bojack look good because of how often and how well he can keep his teammate alive because of that stupid healing, especially on a super start. Buu, I think, has jumped up for me fine in any situation. Let me put him behind Krillin. I'll adjust the order later. Oh man, dude, being able to just heal is so annoying. The amount of fat that can be thrown and making the hitbox bigger and slows you down is so annoying, bro. The healing field just as a passive ability just to have on standby is so annoying, bro. I think that the Boo buff has made him, as ironic as it is, meta relevant to where like I would not be surprised if I see Boos in tournaments moving forward, especially on a superstar because of what he can offer kit wise. Yeah, he's just very annoying. Android 18. I'm unfortunate, and I'm gonna put her in. That's a hot ass take, but I'm gonna put her in the middle. I think in a meta, and it's unfortunate because we're in a meta, a long ranged meta where there are just so many ranged characters that can keep the distance and then hit her. And the only ability that she has that's a far range ability is her Destructo Disc. All I have to do is either get up in her face as a snowball character and then just melt her down, or I long range it, whether it's a Kamehameha, Oob, Solar Flare in a landmine, Zarbon Dodoria, even Bojack can keep the distance on an 18. Her whole kit is designed to be up close and personal. As a result, I just don't see her being in the top. That doesn't mean that she's not good. She still hits like a truck. Do not get it twisted. But I think that in the landscape of season 1, she has dropped a tier for me. And it breaks my heart because I used to play a crap ton of 18. But especially, like, what are you going to do against a Daima that drives by a Kale that 3-1s you from distance? You know what I mean? Like, it's just, it defeats the purpose. And unless you are a meticulously timing character where you're like, I'm going to bait out the Daima Bomb, I'm going to bait out the 3-1 and then close in the gap. But you're assuming that their teammates are going to come in and not support them, right? It's hard. It's hard. Khalifa. You know what? I'm going to put these two here together. Tied for being the best tank. They both offer something. It depends on what your playstyle is. I think that if you want to be more aggressive and feel like you're a top G, top DPS kind of guy, I would go with Cooler. The retaliation ability, being able to, I get stronger and my attacks do more damage and a secondary effect. Her hit, and all it takes is for you to hit me, and then I can go in on you. I would go with Cooler. If you're like, I'm that team guy, I want to be the like a pseudo support, but still hold my own. Khalifa. Provoke is such a strong ability. If my Kale is getting belt to ass, I have been saved many a time by my Khalifa, by her taking all the attention onto her, while I either go secure Kai or I help him do immense damage on them because of that one provoke ability. It is too good to pass up. And unfortunately, my opinion, I've had time to think about this. As much as I love Cooler, I love the retaliation. I can definitely get more kills with Cooler than Khalifa. Me personally, I know that there are some people that get more kills with Khalifa than Cooler. I think just in the meta that we're in, especially if I can direct the attention of all these hard hitting abilities to me, I think Khalifa is the better tank in my opinion, but only by like this literal separate, like this much separation. That little teeny tiny gap in between Cooler and Khalifa that I'm holding right now, that is how much of a gap there is. But I can definitely see the argument for the other way around. Oh boy, Rathan. His stun is too good. His stun, being able to stun, and even if I don't fully charge it, the fact that you cannot use abilities for a duration of time is just, no attack is such an underrated and underutilized like mechanic. And the only other one to have that is, I believe, Gotenks. But I have to get the last ghost of my ultimate for that to happen. Being able to then, if I don't want to use my dash into the team, or to the enemy, either fully charged or just regular, I can dash out. I have my skill 3, which allows me to teleport again to an ally. So now they're buffed. My passive buffs everyone just by being physically present. The power of freaking friendship, bro. I think that's awesome. It's so good. The Radhan supremacy like is real, bro, and there's nothing to say about that. He's one of, if not the second best tech in my personal opinion. Trunks. No, I'm gonna put him fine. He's fine, but his glaring weakness is why I was struggling between putting him at Earthling tier or Z Warrior tier. Is his health is the lowest in the game, and he gets so punished. And if you miss his ability, actually, you know what? Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm gonna go here. I wanted to give him credit, but like this is assuming you're hitting your shots. But the reality is that you're gonna miss. The reality is that you're going to get teamed up on, and your health is just gonna just get eviscerated. If you are not on point, he's one of the literal characters you have to be perfect across the board in order for him to you to maximize what it means to be a Trunks character. A good Trunks, like a Piccolo, is the demon of Dragon Ball Gekishin Squadra. But because the cooldowns are so damn long, and because he gets punished so easily if you miss, not only that, he gets absolutely cooked because of his low health pool. I have to leave it to where it is. Vegeta. They're no other tanks, yeah. I'm gonna go within the middle. I don't think he's anything crazy. I know a lot of you are probably like, oh my god, like a Vegeta hater. No, that's not the thing. Just comparative in the landscape, there's a glaring problem that I have with Vegeta, and it's been made apparent to me too by other people who use Vegeta. Vegeta is super level dependent, brother. If your Vegeta is behind in farm, it doesn't matter if he has photon. It doesn't matter if he has um like his stacks up on build up and stuff like that. Like he can easily get punished, man. He has to be ahead at all times. And the reality is, unless you're a top player, you're just not going to do that with Vegeta. That would be the equivalent of like a good cell, right? A good cell can transform at level 5, but the average cell is going to transform way later in level. But by then, that's going to cost your team the game if they are not ahead, right? As a tank, you got to be able to control the tide of battle. And I think with Vegeta being so level dependent and being ahead of the game, that puts him down a peg. Other than that, I think he's a great character to utilize. His ability to just take farm is so underutilized. Being able to take boss with his big bang attack and his photon bomber, like that's not to be slept on. But again, that level dependency is just what bites him in the ass for me personally. Daimaku, simple. Actually, you know what? Screw this. Where are you? I'm gonna get this out of the way right now. Boom, boom. I stand by it, and that's it. These three, Zeno tier. I physically, and mind you, I'm a KO player. I recently started using Daima only in quick play. Being and then hit, I have played with hits. Being able to always secure the first hit because you're launching a Daima bomb into the East China Sea. You're launching a 3-1 all the way from downtown. Hit, I can be like literally in the bush. Like I don't even have to get a main farm. I just go immediately to the bush to get. Oh, you're gonna go for that one little bit of farm. Boom! I already hit you. Cool. I secured Zeno for our lane. It's egregious being able to these two, especially Kale and Daima, being able to not level up because they are securing farm over and over and over again because you lost that first fight. Dude, why bother playing the game? Which is what a lot of people had frustrations with, and they still do, especially during a skill 1 damage boost and a super start, bro. I'm telling you this as a KO player. I have put belt to ass many a time. But I have also, as a Kale player, gone up against another Kale, had belt to ass onto me, and vice versa. Same thing with Daimas. It is interchangeable. It is just, again, how the cookie crumbles, how the first fight goes, but then that, whoever gets that advantage, it is a downhill battle if you are on the losing end. Those are the type of characters that need a tweak because, again, the fact that I cannot get farm because my team doesn't have a Daima, theirs does, and they can blow up an entire farm, and I can't even get a single hit off, especially during a crooked Cell Junior game. It's just not fun, man. And then again, hit being able to not play half the time, and then I'm forced to, as a tech character, play Shu. But then guess what? All they have to do is go around, and then guess what? It's obsolete. It's annoying. Them being able to be physically invisible and only reveal as the hit is going off, not a fun time. Something needs to be done. It's unfortunate. These guys are at the creme de la creme right now, and if you are not running these characters, you are doing something wrong. There at least needs to be one of each on your team. If you really want to push a ladder, this is it until they get nerfed. It is what it is. 17, I'm going to put him with the same thing as Frieza. I think that just when there's so many better options for tech, unfortunately, it's power creep. It really is. I think on a super start, he's so great for farming. Now, mind you, here's the thing. Little known fact. If, mind you, you won't know that they have a Kale until you're in the game, but if you were a 17 player and you see a Kale, if you hold on to your ult and a Kale does their ult, and the minute they dash to you, if you pop your ult, you get her out of transformation immediately. They just wasted that whole ult, and you give them no heal at the same time. Your ult, again, you can kick people out of transformation like the anime. You can ult them out of transformation. Like, that is his whole thing. I find that funny. Underutilized as hell, a hard counter to Kale. Just word of the wise. The soccer kick on a super start, again, is great for stealing farm. But unfortunately, because the likes of Krillin, Hit, Gohan, and Gotenks, unfortunately, I'm going to put him in the middle. The Gammas. Oh, yeah. Gamma's got a buff, bro. And they hit like a truck. Listen, I'm going to be honest. I put him at the top. I'd put him at the top. That damage, the buff they gave the Gammas, the ability to have 2 lives, which is a better version of Zamasu's, is so good. So underutilized on a skill 1 damage boost, on a super start, or both. Gammas are so bad and impressive early game, bro, because you have to kill 2 people. It is annoying. Ugh. Gammas are good, bro. Like, the buff really just made them so meta relevant. Unfortunately, this guy exists. He's still better than J1. Ever since that nerf, J3 has always been better. Just the kit that he offers, now that he's not in his prime, it used to be this. It used to be this and even this. But that nerf, now there's a clear, obvious Goku. That's the winner. And it's unfortunate. IT, Kamehameha, the distance is too damn long. Being able to IT immensely and then backstab on top of that, if you know how to cycle the cooldowns with backstab, it's annoying, brother. Then the 2 newest releases, I'm gonna put them right there. I am a fan of Gotenks. I'm not gonna try to glaze too much. I do admit that, Hit is definitely better. I put it like this. Gotenks being a perfect hybrid of both Krillin and Gohan is so goated. Being able to stun, being able to Galactic Donut, bring people in, and then combo potential is insane. The ghosts are so impressive, and a snowball Gotenks that knows what they're doing. Chef's kiss. I think that though, as much as I definitely have more fun with Gotenks than I do Gohan. But because Gohan has the ability to just get out way more easily than Gotenks, I have to put him slightly underneath. And honestly, this is the exact order I would keep the God of Destruction tier. Lastly, we have Topo. I think he's a better Deborah. Like that's literally it. But other than that, you have to build your team around Topo. You cannot, and what I mean by that is like he is not your guy. Same thing with Deborah. They have the same problem. He is not your guy. He is a fist melee character. There are players that are over reliant on that skill 3. If you're running this, no. 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 You need one of these. You need this. I could argue some oob. This? This? Skill 1 is just for stacking. The range is trash. The Beyblade is going to be your main ability because the AoE is just to get everybody in that. Again, his passive makes you go to the person faster. A good timed flea flick ability. I call it flea flick because he literally flicks it with his finger. I would go with again a timing thing, but guess what? The hardest counter. Don't touch your keyboard. Don't touch your controller. He just wasted an entire ability. Now, guess what? Especially if he's the snowball build, he just lost it. When you're going for the boss, you're gonna secure. It's unfortunate, bro. It is so unfortunate, but I'm gonna put him in the middle. I like the concept. I like what they tried to do, but I definitely can see why he was released last and not first. I think yeah, it's just it is what it is. Alrighty, let's go in the order of how I see things. Strength wise, like that. Literally makes the game unplayable. Super annoying alt. 3-1 is broken as hell. Daima, again, there could be arguments of this being interchangeable, but this is just my personal opinion. This untouched, now this is where we can cook. Or roast, depend on how I see things. I think that the order, not maybe not 1 and 2, I think actually this I would keep it this way. No, I would do this. I would switch these two. That's how I would see it. Yes, they have a better second life. They have his ability to be able to. Sorry, my dog is scratching. It was just loud. They just Zamasu has the same passive, but like obviously it's gonna take a little longer to get. Again, counterplay, outplay potential so good. The 3 vanishes, and then the oppressive healing. Over here, let's talk about it. I think we're gonna go Vegeta at the top. There. This is how I would do it. In this order, no, sorry, I didn't move. I didn't move 17. I was like, why does it look weird? I would argue 17 is better than Frieza. That might be a hot ass take, but I think the tech is the best like roll out of all 3. Where like they can definitely 17 and Frieza can definitely outplay these two, if especially if they're by themselves. And like that's what it looked like. A lot of things like can they hold their own by themselves? These guys can. These guys can position wise. They need to dot their I's and cross their T's. and again are very lane partner dependent. And then over here, I would argue this. Yeah. Tell just needs a lot of work, bro. Oh, it's so annoying. It's unfortunate. Bojack, I personally have been seeing a lot more Bojack play and output potential, and they put belt to ass on Cell like clockwork. So I'm giving him the edge there. And then Baby, like I said, it's just that skill 3, man. I just give him a little bit more health to the team lane partner, and he's cooking. He'll move up. But guys, that is it for my final season 1 tier list. Let me know down your thoughts below. Do you agree or disagree with anything on this list? But instead of just telling me that, like, oh, this is hot trash, tell me who you would change. In what order would you change things and why? Let me know down in the comment section below. This was a lot of fun. I'm definitely looking forward to season 2. And then hopefully, again, with season 2, I'll be looking forward to seeing you guys in Squadra and in the arena. My name is Citizen. Take care of yourselves. Keep on staying awesome. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.